see this as a left-wing movement, or do you see this more as a populist, apolitical movement?
Well, I think that people, especially young people, have a right to be pissed off because they're
getting Social Security, I'm paying all this stuff.
Well, not only that, look, we've sold the young generation short.
Yeah.
We've put them through these government schools. We've loaded them up with debt. One of the problems people want is the forgiveness of the student loans. Why are there all these student loans? It's because the government guaranteed them. If the government minded its own business, then nobody could get a student loan.
Well, there's never been a monopoly without government involvement.
No, but my point is, if it wasn't for the government, college would be cheap. The tuitions would be low. It's only because the government subsidizes it and guarantees the loans. But who gets the shaft here? It's the kids. The colleges get all the money, and they stick the kids with the bill. They graduate with these worthless degrees with $100,000 or more in debt, and they can't get a job. And if they get a job, they're paying massive taxes. They're paying Social Security taxes to support a generation that voted in this Ponzi scheme before any of these people were born. They're paying income taxes. If there's anything left, they got to pay back their student loans, and they can't even discharge them in bankruptcy, and if they die, their parents are stuck with them. So I think, I think
the blame on government.
Of course, the government did it.
Well, it's not all the blame of the government.
Well, who else did it? Who guaranteed
the? You guys are part of the same team.
Wall Street is. I agree.
Who lobbies?
No, you're right. But why are there lobbyists? Why are lobbyists successful? Because government has power and influence. The problem is the government. If the government couldn't dole out special favors and subsidies, there would be no lobbyists. So what you've got to do is take the power away from government and bring it back to the people.
Then you guys would own everything.
No, then we'd have freedom. Then we'd be a wealthy country like we used to be before the government came in and screwed it all up. We created the wealthiest society that the world had ever seen. The standard of living, you go back to 1950, the average American had a standard of living nobody could match anywhere in the world. That's not true today, because we don't lead the world in freedom. We lead the world now in big government and regulation and central banking. That is the problem. We have to go back to the Constitution. We have to go back to our roots. Of course, but why? Well, because but the government made it so expensive to hire Americans. That's the problem. All the taxes, all the laws, minimum wage, occupational licensing, payroll taxes, unemployment taxes, all the potential litigation. The government has made it so expensive and so risky to hire. Look, I hire people, right? And a lot of times I'm reluctant to hire people. I try to avoid it because the problem is the government makes it too expensive. I know a lot of small businessmen that do everything they can not to hire people because they don't want the headache from the government. They don't want the legal liability. They don't want the government dragging them into court and suing them because they don't think they hired somebody the right way, or maybe they fired them for the wrong reason. The government is looking over the shoulder of every businessman, and it is hard enough to start a business without the government complicating it with taxes and regulations. When people start a small business, they put it all on the line. It's their money. They have to pay everybody first. They pay their employees, they pay their rent. They only make money if there's something left over. And the government makes it very hard, so people don't start businesses, and if they do, they try not to hire people because they can't take the cost. And if businesses are moving their jobs, I recently set up a bank in the Caribbean. I'm moving some of my employees to Singapore. I would rather keep all my employees here, but I don't have a choice. The government is making me uncompetitive. The rules and regulations are so expensive that the only way I can stay in business is to move part of my business to other countries.